The Spring Festival right around the corner, many around the world are prepping to celebrate the Lunar New Year to ring in the 2015 year of the sheep. And joining me now for more on the Lunar New Year and its traditions is Victor Gao in Beijing, and he is the current affairs commentator and Chinese international relations expert. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We just heard about the travel rush in China, biggest human migration. Numbers are supposed to be even higher this year. Billions and billions of trips are going to be made. Tell us about the security measures that are in place.
Thank you very much for having me. First of all, please allow us to convey our best wishes to all the Chinese communities throughout China and throughout the world for the upcoming Chinese Lunar New Year. And this year, in particular, larger numbers of people will be on the way, including both domestic migration inside China, but also more and more Chinese tourists are leaving China for different destinations in the world for the Chinese New Year. And security becomes a paramount concern, partially because over the last year there have been several rounds of terrorist attacks inside China, especially in public squares, railway stations, etc. Therefore, I think security is on high alert. And this morning when I was on the way to the studio here, I also witnessed large police presence. Hopefully this will prevent any attack from happening in Beijing as well as other cities throughout China.
People of Chinese heritage celebrate the Lunar New Year all over the world. Many believe in superstitions and horoscopes. CCTV covered a story about how pregnant mothers try to avoid having babies born in the year of the sheep. Tell us more about what this means.
Well, I would say the Chinese celebration of the Lunar Year has a tradition of several thousand years. And I don't think superstition is very much at play these days. The Lunar Year happens, just in between the end of the winter and the beginning of spring. And this is the last period where people can gather, go back home, celebrate with their friends and family, and in preparation for the upcoming spring. Immediately after the Chinese Lunar New Year, people, especially in the countryside, need to go back to work. And it's a celebration of the passing of the old year, and it's an anticipation of the upcoming new year. It's a turning of a new page. It's a rejuvenation and a reinvigoration for everyone in China. And I would say this is the most important holiday season throughout China and throughout the Chinese communities in the world, because it's mostly dedicated to family reunion. And in China, especially when we have about 200 million migrant workers. This is the time when the migrant workers, when people work in different parts of the country, need to go back to their ancestral home to get reconnected with their families. So it's a very, very important family-oriented public holiday in China.
Victor, are there any notable differences on how people in different provinces and cities celebrate the year?
Yes, of course. China is a big country. We have more than 1.3 billion people, and geographically speaking, it covers a very large landmass. There are major differences in China. For example, Chinese cuisine is very, very different. However, on the Lunar Year itself, I think throughout China, more or less, there is a highly choreographed process. For example, on the 1st of January, mostly it's a family regathering, for example, and then in a few days' time, it's an exchange of visits among friends, among neighbors, etc. And then you also have the festivities like dragon dancing, etc. And the local differences are overwhelmed by the similarities of these traditions, highly choreographed events, which are actually already starting, even though the Lunar Year, January the 1st, will fall in this year on February the 19th. And normally, for example, it takes about 7 days if you need to work, especially in urban areas. But the whole celebration will last for about 15 days in the traditional countryside in China. So it's it's the longest holiday season in China. The local differences are many, but I would say the similarities throughout China in terms of this highly choreographed process remains the dominant feature of the Lunar Year celebration.
Well, Victor Gao, thank you so much joining us from Beijing, and we wish you a very happy Lunar New Year.